Hello and welcome to the 59th episode of The Real List, a podcast about our real list, where we are realists about movies, but not really. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria, and this is John Wick Chapter 4.
You've just been rolling. This is like one big film for you. We're going to do John Wick, and then we did 4 John Wicks.
This was great.
Too bad Ballerina isn't out yet, but yeah, I'll take the load off and say that it's directed by the Chad, of course. Written by Shay Hatton and Michael Finch, based on characters by Derek Kolstad, produced by Basil Iwanek, Erica Lee, and of course Chad, and starring many people, including Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Lawrence Fishburne, Hiroyuki Sadana, Shamir Anderson, Lance Reddick, Scott Adkins, Clancy Brown, Ian McShane, who is one of my favorite parts of these movies, and of course,
Arina Sorayama. I think I said her last name correctly, but she is a badass music artist, and this was actually her first movie that she ever acted in, because she performs. She did an interview for this film, and she performs her own. She produces her own music videos. Mm-hmm. And she also writes her own music and stuff like that. But she turned down so many roles, and this was her big break.
This was her getting to hang out with Keanu Reeves. This was her
movie. This was her acting debut.
I think for an acting debut, it's a really good one. I mean, the fact that it didn't stick out to me as this is not an actor, this is a musician that is hanging out in a movie, you know, it's no Rihanna in Battleship. She's a genuinely good actress, and it turned out really well.
And she made a song for this movie that is killer. Yeah, I fucking love that song. You've only
listened to it at least once a day for the last 2 weeks.
Okay, shut up. Calling me out. The song is amazing, and I love it. Okay, you can't deny that it's a good song.
It is a good song, and it does a good job of sort of encapsulating the movie. It's sort of like, you know, James Bond has the opening themes which speak to the movie. I mean, it doesn't make an appearance in this movie. The song doesn't.
No, it's in the end credits.
It's in the end credits. Okay, yeah, it's close enough then.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. We didn't stick around for all the credits. We missed the end. We missed the post-credits scene. Did you just see the box office numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the biggest release of an R-rated film in years and years and years. Actually, it said since. Oh, whoops! I'm looking at the wrong part. Best opening weekend for Lionsgate in any R-rated film since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Second highest opening weekend after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yeah, and best of any R-rated film since March 2020. I think there was something else in here about what the last R-rated film to break that number was. But point is, it was an absolute bombshell of a release, and I don't think it's undeserved. I think, despite the fact that they had to cram 2 movies into one thanks to COVID, which is why this movie is so long, they sort of had to cram 2 movies into one. They did a really good job getting everything in here, and something that I think is both a plus and a negative. Like, I like it and I don't like it. There is so much that is carried over from previous films, but there's so much that's new. Mm-hmm. You know? I like it when there's a lot of continuity in the world, and the John Wick series has done a great job of expanding the world with every entry, substantially. But yeah, this is an interesting one. We get to see more of the inner workings of the High Table, and they have their marquee and their, what was the guy you were talking about earlier?
Oh, what is it? He's the Harbinger.
The Harbinger.
The Harbinger.
Yeah. They have those people that work under the High Table, and it's, I don't know, the way that it's handled, and this universe is a little weird. The plot sort of just serves the fight scenes a lot of the time. The world building is interesting, and I talked about how good it
I
was in the first movie.
I
But
also want to bring up how I like how this movie also does not just take place in New York.
oh yeah, I mean they
It
go worldwide. Well, they go to Paris. They spend most of the movie in Paris.
well, yeah, they go to Paris, they go to Japan,
Yep,
like
they go to Germany. There's actually very little time spent in New York.
yeah,
There's just enough time for them to blow up the Continental.
yeah, yeah.
Which, what
You
did you
have an
think about
hour.
that?
You have an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I like the way that they did it. Like they said you have an hour to clear out the hotel,
Yep.
and then they brought them to where the marquee was. And when the hourglass went out, the way they shot it showed the hourglass, and then it showed the Continental blowing up.
Yep. It is a cool couple of shots. I mean, the giant hourglass is
Oh yeah,
really neat. And then they shot Karen,
I know.
Sharon. They
Yeah,
shot Sharon.
the 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 concierge.
I mean, you don't need a concierge if you don't have a hotel, but that was doing that man dirty.
Yeah, I mean he did pass.
Yeah, well, yeah, they did have to get him out of the
Yeah,
thing, but
Lance Reddick.
they did have to
He
get him out of the movie. But it's a shame that they had to kill like I feel bad for the character.
Yeah.
Um, but man, still,
Yeah. At least did he died before the movie came out.
yeah.
Oh, sad.
I mean, hopefully he saw like an early cut of it or something. I mean,
Yeah, who
when
knows?
I don't know when principal photography finished and editing finished and everything. Um, Filming concluded October 22nd of 2021. So hopefully he got to see
A final cut.
a cut. I mean, the original cut of it was 225 minutes, which
That's
is
over 3 hours.
that is about 3.5 hours.
Oh God.
And this one was 169 minutes, which nice, but also 2 hours
49
and
minutes.
yeah, 2 hours 49. Thank you for quick maths. Still a long movie.
It is a long movie, but honestly, it was a good movie, and I sat through the whole thing without having to go to the bathroom. Can I just say that?
I was proud of you. I was impressed.
I sat through that whole thing without having to use the bathroom, and I was very proud of myself.
What you should really be proud of is the amount of snacks that we fit into your backpack for this marathon film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even that much of a marathon film. It's no Lord of the Rings,
Oh yeah,
but
it's no Lord of the Rings.
compared to the previous movies that were kind of tight and short, it seemed like a marathon. But at the same time,
because
they did a good job of.
But honestly, they fit a lot into
Yeah.
this movie.
They paced it pretty well. You're always kind of on the edge of your seat. There's no, like, was I complaining in the third one or the second one that it takes so long to get to the action? Because this one you're there right away. I mean, we missed maybe the first 30 seconds or so. We walked in to see him shooting the high table guy in the head.
Yeah, he kills the elder.
The elder, yeah. Which, according to the word from above, is not the same elder as the last movie, which seems weird, but I'm not going to question it. I'm not gonna dig into that. It was a different actor, and they said it's a different character. I don't know why. I feel like it should be the same one.
I don't know.
But that's this thing in this movie. It's a continuation of 3, where it's just consistently
Leading
breaking
in.
and reforming alliances. I mean, 3 was really topsy-turvy. With him sort of joining and then leaving, or leaving and then joining and then leaving the sort of order of the table.
Yeah, chopped off his finger and then just abandoned it.
Yeah, immediately. Like the first opportunity he had. And here, I mean, he doesn't go back to the order until the end. The whole thing is him trying to reverse that, which led to him getting shot multiple times and thrown off the Continental.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do love that the, was it the Harbinger that was like questioning, or that came and told him, or was it the Marquis that came and told Ian McShane's character, like, hey, we think we think you helped John Wick out. You're
No,
in trouble.
it was in the third one. Remember, it was in the end It was the lady. It was the adjudicator. Remember, she was like, his body's gone.
Yeah, but like when he gets told at the beginning of this movie, like, we think, this
I think
crazy
it
stuff has
was.
happened at your hotel and you helped John Wick, so like,
I think it might be I think it was the Marquis.
yeah. And that was part of the thing, like the Marquis as going out of control, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, and that's why it had to be this duel to sort of make a statement, make a stand. I don't know. It is
He has to follow the rules. That's the high table. It has to follow the old rules.
the interesting thing is with what I said earlier about this going through um, both old stuff and new stuff. If you watch these all back to back, they would probably feel pretty disjointed because each one is introducing like a new sort
Big
of
bad
yeah,
kind of.
yeah, exactly a new like person that's causing the problems at the behest of the high table. And I feel like that would feel weird to watch back to back, but watching these, sort of a week apart,
Mm-hmm.
like we did, it seemed okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel weirded out by this development. In fact, I think I like this one more than I liked the third one, or maybe even the second one. Um, we haven't even talked about the various amazing fight sequences, like the battle around the Arc de Triomphe, where they're all in traffic, or
Oh my god,
the
yeah,
top down, like 3 minute long single shot where John has the dragon breath rounds and he's just blowing people away with a shotgun that breathes fire. Which is like the best scene in any John Wick movie, I'm gonna be honest. Uh, I don't know, what else did you like out of this?
I liked Rina Soyama's fight scene.
Oh yeah,
She's badass with a bow and arrow.
that is true.
Badass.
One of the things that sticks out to me from that is when she pins the guy to the wall and then he drops and he's like still stuck to the wall. Um, how about Kane in that same sequence? Kane killing people using stick-on doorbells.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I was like, I thought that it was C4 at first, and I was like, is he just gonna blow up the kitchen?
I literally thought we were gonna have two Continentals down back to back. They were just all gonna get blown up.
I literally thought that he was planting bombs, and then he was using, and then it went off, and I was like, oh, they're doorbells.
Yep, very clever for the blind Jedi. Really.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Every time I saw him walking around, I was like, I'm with the Force, and the Force with me. I'm with the Force, and the Force with me. It's just, it will never. That's who he is to me, and he's just like a Jedi, but not in a galaxy far, far away this time. Um, do you were you so incredibly, and I didn't even think this was going to happen, so incredibly tense at the duel?
Yes. Because I was like, honestly, when at first I didn't know if the Marquis was going to do the duel himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was gonna have Kane do it, and I was like, "Why are you gonna make the blind man do
The
your
duel.
dirty work? Why are you making the blind man do your dirty work? Like, come on now."
And he didn't even want to do it because he's friends with John. But then again, like, everyone is friends with John in this universe.
But he's also doing it to protect his daughter.
That too. But like, he has more reasons than one for not wanting to do everything that he does in this movie. I mean, it starts out with him getting his John Wick style call back to action. Like, no, I don't want to. I'm retired. Don't ask me to go kill John Wick.
They gave me your name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did you think the duel was going to end? When it started, how did you think it was going to end?
I thought that both John and Kane were going to point their guns at the Marquis and just shoot him.
Yeah.
I thought they were just gonna like double barrel it and just shoot him.
I kind of thought that was going to happen too. I had a feeling that the Marquis was gonna get shot one way or the other.
I knew he was gonna die. I knew he was not gonna remain a character.
I mean, this is John Wick. If they blasted the guy in the Continental in episode 2, they're in chapter 2, they're not gonna let
episode 2.
Whatever. They're not gonna let what's his face live at the end of this. I'm I am kind of surprised they let Kane live. I figured John was gonna have to make like the ultimate sacrifice and shoot Kane and then feel really bad about it.
Mm.
Um, I am surprised, and I know that they've sort of they haven't been as firm as they could be on this. You know, the word from above, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised they killed John. Did you think they were going to? Did you think he was going to die as a result of this duel?
I did not. When they were talking about what they wanted on their tombstones,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and then the Bowery King was like, "Long live the king." What did Winston say? What he wanted
I
on his?
don't think Winston said what he wanted on his. No,
But
he just sort of made fun of the Bowery King for having that on his tombstone and having already ordered it years before, or something.
yeah. And then when John was getting off the boat and said, "Loving husband," that's what
Mhm.
I want on my tombstone. I kind of like started to tear up. I was like, ah!
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, that's a Chekhov's gun that's not going to remain unfired. Like, we're going to see his tombstone at the end of the movie, and it's going to say loving husband on it. But I didn't know how the duel was going to go. I was so tense. Which, I mean, you should be. And then we get the best line in the entire John Wick franchise, which is, "You arrogant soul, he didn't shoot." And then John Wick blows the Marquis's head off.
You know what my favorite scene was in this entire film?
What?
The sequence in when he's trying to get to the church.
What, the stairs? The
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also like that entire sequence, like when they broadcasted it through Paris.
Oh yeah, and they've got like the cool music, like that is
That
so
was
good.
And then the shots of like you don't see who it is, like you just see her mouth, and then you see like the back of her, and like you see the city. Like
Yep.
that was a cool transition in between, like.
You have very good cinematography, and the fact that it's like an in-universe soundtrack
Mhm.
for John Wick doing crazy cool stuff. But yeah, now you got me thinking about the stairs,
The stair scene.
which I can't even like. I kind of wish that they'd only done the fight up the stairs once. Just have Kane like meet with him at the bottom of the stairs the first time,
Mhm.
instead of having him get to the top and then get knocked all the way back down. Which, once again, didn't think. I wasn't sure what to think at that point. I was like, oh, so he's not going to make it, and then he's just going to show up and blow the Marquis's head off anyway. They're going to be like, oh, duel's called off, and he's like, not if I have anything to say about it. I'm John Wick.
Dang.
Yeah. I really thought things were going to go sideways. I wasn't sure they were even going to have the duel for a while. So I guess the movie did a good job of keeping me in suspense, you might say. I'm talking about all these all these things that I wasn't sure about, and yeah, it did the work. It did the work. It's a pretty good movie.
This is just like I was on the edge of my seat. I also want to talk about the scene with the in Germany when he went back to the
Oh my
Ruska
God.
Roma. When he went
Oh,
back
okay,
to
the
the Ruska
Ruska
Roma.
Roma, yeah. I thought you were going to talk about the whole like extended fight scene with what's his name in Germany.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fat guy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I was sitting there and I was leaning over next to you and I was like, that fat guy can sure move.
Yeah, that was Scott Adkins, who wore a fat suit for the role. Fantastic. Also, what a brutal end to him. He gets dropped on his head down the flight of stairs, and you hear the crack. I was like, oh God. You know?
I don't want to think about that.
It's the moment is him landing on his head is burned into my mind.
And then
I
John
can
just
see it.
taking his tooth out.
Ugh.
Because Katya was like, I need proof. I
Mhm.
need, you can't just go and say you did it. I need to know that he's actually dead.
I like how this movie, though, is... Like, last movie was very much... At least the beginning half of it is... There are consequences for helping John. You know, the
Mhm.
people that helped him in the second movie... sort of got their comeuppance, so to speak, in the third movie. And then the third one sort of shows a little bit of... There are consequences like for John's actions for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the one I was thinking for. Oh, yeah, right. The head of the Osaka Continental helps John out, gets his place, all effed up. But
Oh,
beyond,
Koji.
yeah, beyond that, John, uh, sort of just doing what John does, got a dude from the Ruska Roma executed, which happened off screen, but Katya mentions it to him. When he's like, I want to talk to Uncle Piotr or whatever. And she's like, he's dead. They killed him because he helped you, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, so, yeah. I think this is a really good end cap for the last two movies. I think
Yeah.
I think if you look at 2 and 3 as the as parts of this movie's rising action instead of being their own self-contained narratives, it flows a little bit better. Despite the fact what I said earlier, where it's kind of weird that they're introducing a new big bad every time, but it's sort of like John not leveling up, but having progressively more difficult and influential enemies. I don't know. Was there another? Uh, Actually, this is someone who we haven't mentioned yet, so I want to get your take on him first. What do you think of Mr. Nobody?
Mr. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he's got a dog.
And you knew that dog was going to come back around, huh?
Mm-hmm. I was like, John Wick's not going to let that dog die.
Mm-hmm. John
And
Wick
he didn't. And he didn't.
He didn't. He
Because
saved the dog.
He did save the dog. He saved the dog in what, Berlin?
No, it was in Paris. It was in, like, the fight before the stairs. Also, Mr. Nobody pulling his hand through the knife. Don't want to think about that. Yeah, don't like that.
No.
Did you notice where Kane shot John was the same spots that John shot the doctor in the previous movie?
Yes.
It's funny because people are calling that out as clearly it was done intentionally because the doctor was like, it won't kill me if you shoot me here. And
Mm-hmm.
then, did John die? Good thinking. Question. Anyway. This is a hell of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for? What are you reading?
I'm looking for the dog.
What about the dog? Well, prevents Chidi from killing Mr. Nobody's dog.
Yeah.
And that it gives John a little bit of anime protagonist syndrome, where people are just like coming to his side and helping him out.
Mm-hmm.
I like how even the Harbinger talks to the Marquis and is like, "You're off your nut, man. Like, what are you doing?" Before the duel.
He's like,
I
you
feel
know
like,
who this is? You know
Yeah.
who you fucking with here?
yeah. Also, I feel like calling a $26 million bounty on the dude that you're supposed to be dueling is probably not fair play.
He was trying to get him to not make it to the duel.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like that's fair. I feel like you shouldn't be able to do that. I feel like that should be against someone's rules.
That's what I said in the friggin'. That's what I said.
That's what you said in the theater.
That's what I said in the theater. I was like, shouldn't that be against the rules? Like, he already has a bounty on his head already. Like, people are already trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point of raising the bounty more if you're already going to do a duel? I feel like if you do the duel, the bounty should be called off until the duel.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
It would.
Mm-hmm.
But no, instead, the Marquis is off his fucking rocker, okay? And is doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yep. And, yeah, I appreciate that word of wisdom from the Harbinger, which also sort of helps at the end when he's just, like, looking over the duel and is like, yeah, okay, I guess everybody's fine here. Like, duel's over, conditions are satisfied, not like John Wick just shot the Marquis. That's probably not good.
Well, Winston said that he's irreplaceable.
Yeah, but that's my point, is the fact that the Harbinger says that the duel is satisfied, despite the fact that the duel went the way it did, which is a little bit of bending the rules. But him saying, like, no, Kane gets off, John gets off, like, and
Winston's
Ian McShane
reinstated.
gets his hotel back.
Winston's reinstated.
Yes, and the Continental, rebuilt as it were. It's yeah, it's a heck of a thing. It sort of explains why he lets that slide instead of sort of rules lawyering it and saying, well, you weren't supposed to shoot the Marquis. He was not the one in the duel, you know.
Well, I mean, he was the first.
He was, but he wasn't the one supposed to be doing the shoot. Like, I don't know how duel etiquette works, but I don't think you're supposed to shoot the guy doing the coup de grace. In fact, you're not supposed to not shoot to wait for the guy to come to do the coup de grace. I feel like I'm not a duel expert. I just feel like John Wick might have bent the rules a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Well, whatever. Whatever rules they have, they're fucked anyways. Like,
and it doesn't matter because this is just these movies are a vehicle for fight scenes.
yeah.
It's okay. I'm okay with that. I enjoyed this. Again, I enjoyed it more than the previous two movies, I think. What about you?
I loved this film.
Yeah, what are you giving it as a star
I'm
rating?
giving it a 5.
You're giving it a 5?
Can I give it a 10?
No, you cannot give it a 10.
Why?
Because it only goes to 5. We're
Oh.
not doing score inflation here.
Can I give it a 5.5?
No, you cannot give it a 5.5.
Can I give it 5.25?
You can give it more than 5 stars, but every extra star you give it will also go to Space Jam 2.
No.
Okay, then it's 5 stars. I'm waiting for them to do Space Jam 3 with Shaq, because you know that's next. Anyway, I gave John Wick 1 a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think this is a step up over Parabellum because it doesn't have the very strange, wishy-washy plot where no one can make up their minds.
And this movie had full pupper.
This movie did have Pupper. I think as far as the theme of consequences, this does wrap it up fairly nicely. And the fact that John dies at the end, spoilers.
I do like how they did wrap the movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
How they put him next to his wife, and it said Helen Wick, loving wife, and then
Mhm.
it said John Wick, loving husband.
Yep. Can't help but think about the fact that he buried all his guns at the beginning of the second movie and then immediately had his house burned down and never went back to them, and they're just in a concrete slab now.
Yeah,
John Wick's guns and all his coins.
well, hopefully whoever buys that land doesn't dig up the basement.
Anna de Armas is going to buy that land and dig up the basement. Oh, that's the thing we didn't mention is that
This movie, the John Wick world, is getting a spin-off called Ballerina.
and it's getting a TV show.
Yeah. It's called,
Matrix Resurrections. No, sorry, it's called what is it called? Oh, just the Continental.
The
right?
Continental from the world of John Wick. And Ballerina is supposed to take place in between John Wick Chapter 3 and Chapter 4.
I just also want to share with everyone. Well, actually, I'm going to give this thing 4.5 stars. So the same as John Wick 1, because it's just a vehicle for fight scenes. I think it's a very good vehicle for fight scenes, but I don't think it's better than the first John Wick, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I would like to share with everyone that when we came home from this marathon of a movie,
no. Please don't.
no,
No.
it's okay. I don't blame you.
No.
Well,
No.
boy,
Ellis, no. I swear to God.
okay, fine, then I'll say it.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm telling you not to.
Oh, okay, you gotta. I don't know. Well, just look at the lead role for Ballerina, and you'll know what I'm thinking. Anyway, but yeah, fifth film was no longer on the table by the time this film was released. Yeah, again,
They wanted to do another one?
the sort of thing that I've heard was that they were going to do 4 and then 5, and it was going to be basically the plot of this movie, but stretched out into 2. But because of COVID, they smushed it down into 1.
And also, the movie poster's awesome as fuck.
It is a really cool poster. Um,
And also, the song for the movie is called Eye for an Eye. It's really good.
it is. It's pretty good. Anyway, we will probably see Ballerina when it comes out. But
Yeah.
now back to your regularly scheduled programming. I have no idea what I'm going to pick next. We're probably going to have a break for we're going away in a couple weeks.
Well,
But
not even a couple weeks, like next week.
yeah, it's like a week and change. Uh, so I need to figure out what to watch between now and then. We'll probably have one more episode. I don't know what. I'm hoping something a little less,
Fight scene.
a little less just raw action movie. But I'm running out of things that are both funny and not action movies. So, we'll see. But until then, if you saw John Wick 4, well, if you haven't, I'm sorry for spoiling the fact that he dies.
Yeah.
But,
Spoilers.
he dies. It's about the journey. But leave a comment on what you think about John Wick 4 and the franchise as a whole.
And listen to that song.
And listen to that song.
It's a good one.
And we'll see you next week, probably. Let's go watch a movie.
Woo!